Hello and welcome back to the channel. In 1985, the British Army received a new rifle. For decades, British soldiers had carried the L1A1 self-loading rifle, the SLR. It was heavy, it was long, it was chambered in 7.62mm NATO. It kicked hard, but it worked. It always worked. You could drag it through mud, drop it in a river, leave it in the desert, and it would still fire. British soldiers loved the SLR. It was reliable, accurate, and it hit hard. They trusted it with their lives. The replacement was the L85A1, also known as the SA80. It was a bullpup design, meaning the magazine and action were behind the trigger, making the rifle shorter. It was chambered in 5.56mm NATO. It had an optical sight as standard. On paper, it was everything a modern assault rifle should be. In reality, it was the worst service rifle ever issued to a major military power. To understand how the L85A1 happened, you have to understand the state of British weapons manufacturing in the 1970s and 80s. The Royal Small Arms Factory at Enfield had been designing and manufacturing British military weapons for centuries. The Lee Enfield rifle, one of the most successful military rifles in history, came from Enfield. The Sten gun came from Enfield. The factory had a long and proud tradition. But by the 1970s, the factory was in trouble. Investment had been cut. The best engineers had left for the private sector. Management was poor. Quality control was deteriorating. NATO had decided to standardize on 5.56mm ammunition. Every NATO country needed a new rifle. This was Britain's opportunity to design and build a world-class assault rifle. A rifle that could compete with the M16, the AK-74, and the new designs coming out of Germany and Belgium. Enfield designed the L85A1. It was a bullpup configuration, putting the action behind the trigger group. This made the rifle shorter than a conventional design while keeping a full-length barrel. Shorter meant easier to use in vehicles, in buildings, and in tight spaces. The design incorporated a built-in optical sight, the SUSAT. This was genuinely innovative. Most armies at the time still issued iron sights as standard. The SUSAT gave every British soldier a magnified optical sight. This was a real advantage. On paper, the L85A1 was excellent. Short, accurate, well-sighted, and modern. The problem started the moment soldiers began using it. The first problem was the magazine. The L85A1 used a magazine that was held in place by a catch. The catch was poorly designed. When soldiers ran, the magazine would simply fall off the rifle. Soldiers reported magazines dropping out during exercises, during training, during movement. The magazine catch could not hold the magazine securely under the normal stress of infantry combat. Soldiers began taping their magazines to the rifle. They used electrical tape, duct tape, anything they could find. The British Army was issuing a front-line assault rifle that required tape to keep the magazine attached. The second problem was the bolt. The L85A1 used a bolt that was held in place by a pin. The pin could work loose. When it did, the bolt would fly backwards out of the rear of the weapon, directly into the face of the soldier firing it. This was not a theoretical risk. It happened. Soldiers were injured by their own rifles. The bolt, driven by the full force of the firing mechanism, would exit the rear of the weapon at speed, into the cheekbone of the soldier holding it. The third problem was reliability. The L85A1 jammed constantly. It jammed in rain. Water would get into the mechanism and cause stoppages. It jammed in sand. Fine particles would get into the action and lock it up. It jammed in cold weather. The lubricant would thicken and the action would slow down until it stopped cycling entirely. It jammed in hot weather. The heat would cause parts to expand and bind. It jammed when it was clean. It jammed when it was dirty. It jammed when soldiers did everything right. It jammed when soldiers did everything wrong. The rifle simply did not work reliably under any conditions. British soldiers in the Gulf War in 1991 reported that the L-85A1 was almost unusable in desert conditions. Sand got into everything. The rifle would jam after a few rounds. Soldiers were clearing stoppages more often than they were firing. Some units quietly acquired M16 rifles from American forces. British soldiers were abandoning their own issued weapon in favor of American rifles because the L-85A1 could not be trusted. The fourth problem was left-handed soldiers. Because the L-85A1 was a bullpup design, the ejection port was on the right side of the rifle, directly next to the face of a left-handed shooter. When a left-handed soldier fired the weapon, hot brass casings would eject directly into their face. The L-85A1 could not be converted for left-handed use. There was no left-handed version. Left-handed soldiers simply had to learn to shoot right-handed. In every other major army in the world, bullpup rifles could be converted for left-handed use. The French Famous could be converted. The Austrian AUG could be converted. The L-85A1 could not. The fifth problem was the safety catch. It was in an awkward position that was difficult to operate quickly. In a combat situation where a soldier needed to switch from safe to fire in a fraction of a second, the L-85A1 safety catch was slow and clumsy. Soldiers reported fumbling with the safety catch under stress. A safety catch that slows you down in combat is not a safety feature, it is a liability. The sixth problem was the charging handle. It was on the right side of the weapon. To cock the rifle, a right-handed soldier had to take their firing hand off the grip, reach across the weapon, and pull the charging handle. This meant the soldier could not keep the rifle shouldered and aimed while cocking it. Every time the weapon needed to be cocked, the soldier lost their sight picture and their firing position. So, the rifle was unreliable. The magazine fell off. The bolt flew backwards. It jammed in every climate. Left-handed soldiers could not use it. The safety catch was slow. The charging handle was in the wrong place. The British Army knew all of this. The Ministry of Defense knew all of this. Test reports had identified many of these problems before the rifle was even issued to troops, and nobody fixed it. For over 15 years, from 1985 to 2001, the British Army continued to issue the L-85A1 to frontline soldiers, knowing it did not work properly. The reasons were political and financial. The L-85A1 had been designed and built by a British factory. Admitting the rifle was defective meant admitting that British weapons manufacturing had failed. It meant admitting that billions of pounds had been wasted. It meant admitting that British soldiers had been sent into combat with a weapon that could not be trusted. Nobody wanted to be the person who made that admission. So the problems were minimized. Reports were buried. Soldiers were told they were not maintaining the weapon properly. The rifle was fine, according to the Ministry of Defense. The soldiers were the problem. Soldiers knew better. They knew the rifle did not work. They trained around its failures. They developed techniques for clearing jams quickly. They taped magazines in place. They checked the bolt pin obsessively. They adapted to a broken weapon because nobody would give them a working one. The rescue finally came from Germany. In 2001, the Ministry of Defense awarded a contract to Heckler & Koch, the German weapons manufacturer, to rebuild the L-85A1, not design a new rifle, not replace it entirely, rebuild the existing weapon. Heckler & Koch replaced over 80 individual components. 80. In a single rifle. They redesigned the bolt. They redesigned the magazine catch. They redesigned the firing mechanism. They improved the gas system. They improved the reliability of every single moving part. The result was the L-85A2. It was essentially a new rifle built inside the old shell. The L-85A2 was reliable. It worked in sand. It worked in rain. It worked in hot weather and cold weather. The magazine stayed attached. The bolt stayed inside the weapon. It took a German company to fix a British rifle. The irony was not lost on British soldiers. The L-85A2 served effectively in Iraq and Afghanistan. It was a good rifle. But it was a good rifle only because Heckler & Koch had completely rebuilt it. The original British design was fundamentally flawed. The L-85A1 is a cautionary tale about what happens when pride overrides engineering. The British Army needed a new rifle. British industry was given the contract. The rifle did not work. And for 15 years, nobody admitted it. Because admitting it was too embarrassing and too expensive. Meanwhile, soldiers went to war with a weapon they could not trust. A weapon where the magazine fell off when they ran, where the bolt could fly into their face, where the rifle would jam at the worst possible moment. The L-85A1 was not the worst rifle ever made. There have been worse designs that never entered service. But it was the worst rifle ever issued to a major military power as a standard service weapon. And the fact that it took 15 years and a German company to fix it tells you everything you need to know about how it happened. Thank you for watching. If you found this interesting, please subscribe. There are many more stories like this one. Take care, and I will see you in the next one.